Welcome back to the Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda. We have had a lot of snow and ice this week and I wasn't able to get out for thrifting, so I'll be doing Craft My Stash for this video. And this is it. This is my entire stash right now. I have quit buying up a whole bunch of stuff to just sit around. I just buy things if I know immediately what I'm going to do with them. And these are all things that I have thrifted or bought on clearance at the dollar store. I'm starting out with a candlestick that was on clearance at the Dollar General store, and it was only $1.50. Some of your stores may still actually have this candlestick. And I'm going to pair it with this cheese cloche that was in a previous DIY for Halloween one year. Now the first thing we're going to do is paint the candlestick with some white chalk paint. I chose chalk paint because it sticks to everything so well, and this is a glass candlestick. The more I messed with the paint on this candlestick, the more I liked what it was doing naturally. So it was looking kind of distressed with some of the darker colors showing through, and I was just trying to emphasize that it was looking like a chippy old candlestick. So I put some chips in on purpose with the metal edge of my paintbrush and just played around until I got the finish that I liked, only using white chalk paint. For the cloche, it was originally natural wood, so I'm going to try to faux paint it to bring it back to a natural wood looking state with some white paint that's going to look like it's chipping off. So we're going to do this with a coat of white chalk paint first. You can see that it's just one rough coat of the white chalk paint. Now I'm going to take the Waverly Antiquing Glaze and a foam brush, and using just very, very little of the antiquing glaze on the brush, I drug the brush across the bottom. And I always start with the bottom first in case if I don't like it, I can cover it back up and rework it, which happens sometimes. So just keep dragging the brush with the antiquing glaze on there until you feel like it looks like wood. Then I turned it over and did the same thing on the top side. I had some antiquing wax that dripped down inside here, so I just was able to get that out with a wet rag. And that's it. That was a really quick and easy transformation and made this into a really cute farmhouse cloche. But I'm going to put it on top of the candlestick to make it a taller piece when it's needed. So you could use it either way. But if you wanted it to be permanently attached, I would use E6000. I styled it with an old paintbrush, a cute little bird, and some embroidery floss. The next thing I had to work on was this topiary that was originally from the Dollar General store, but it has seen better days. It's bald in some places and yeah, just not looking its best. But if you disassemble it and take the greenery away, it doesn't matter that it's not a perfect greenery ball because it'll do just fine inside of a cloche or used on its own someplace else. Then you can also make use of the little pot because it's a cute little terracotta pot, and you can paint it up with some white chalk paint and it will go right along with the rest of the decor. Next, I'm going to work on the cutting board. When it's wood tone like this, that's beautiful, but it makes me think more fall, and I'm trying to decorate more towards spring now. So I'm going to add some white chalk paint to this cutting board. It doesn't really matter what kind of brush you use for this, but I chose to use a stencil brush this time because I wanted to see what it would do if I kind of swirled it into the wood and tried to make it actually go into the wood better than just brushing it on. And as I went along, I used a paper towel to wipe some of it back away and give it some character. And I just kept working in layers, adding paint and wiping away until I liked how that looked. Then I went in with some sandpaper and distressed around the edges and blended in the paint better with the wood so that it all turns out really smooth looking. I wanted to display something with my cutting board, and I kind of find these old paint brushes that I've been using very interesting. Now, I'm not going to use these ones with the rubber handles. I'm just going to use these cheap ones from the Dollar Tree that are wore out. It's time to replace them anyway, and I just love their wood handles and their little bristles. I'm also going to pair it with this jar that I really can't remember where it came from. It was the Dollar General or the Dollar Tree. I'm sure it was $1 or $1.25. Next up is this adorable little birdhouse that I picked up at the Goodwill. I don't know how long this has been in my stash, but I've been waiting a good long time to give it a nice makeover. I guess this was originally a hanging decoration, so I used my needle nose pliers to pull out the little loop that was its hanger. This time I'm using the color Celery, and it's still Waverly chalk paint, and I'm giving a coat. Actually, I'm going to give 2 coats all around the body or the base of this birdhouse, and the roof is going to be a different color. And the roof is going to be painted with white chalk paint, but I'm going to give it a little distressing or a little wooden look using the Waverly Antiquing Glaze and the foam brush, just like I did with the previous projects. This was such a fun little paint job. If you don't do any other crafts for the spring, find a little birdhouse and paint it up because it just do your heart good. I also did a little distressing on the corners with some sandpaper. And I wanted to replace the perch that was once there. It looks like it had been broken off. And I'm going to use a wooden dowel and a pair of dog toenail clippers to cut this dowel down to a perch size. Since this is a very small piece that I'm attaching and I'm not going down into the wood glue will hold it, it'll work, but you have to be a little patient and let it set up a little bit before you wipe off the excess. And here's a cute picture that I thrifted at the Renewed Thrift Store for only $4. I'm going to paint it up and put an IOD transfer on it, and it's going to really transform this piece. This one's been sitting around for quite a long time, so I had to dust it off and kind of look around and see what needed repaired on it. The back of it, the backing had a couple of holes, and I'm going to need to relocate the hanger on it. So that's the first thing I did, was remove the hanger. Then I taped off that pretty frame so I wouldn't get paint on it. And this time I'm using my Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Picket Fence because it's a really nice background white color for signs. And also it's easier to use the IOD transfers because this has a built-in sealer and it won't scrape off very easily when you're applying your transfers. It did take about 4 coats to completely cover up the design. There was still just a hint of the designs showing through, but I thought that with the transfer going on top, you wouldn't notice it anyway. I picked out a picture of a sheep that was in the IOD transfer book, but I'm going to cut it down to fit inside of my frame. The other half of the sheep is on a separate page, so I cut that down on one side, and then you're going to have to piece them together. So you see where it would meet in the middle, but you're going to have to cut out that strip on both pieces so that they will layer upright. The top of the sheep's head was on a third piece, and you can see that this is part of a really big design meant to go on a big piece of furniture or a really, really big sign. But you don't have to use them like that, like they're printed. You could cut out bits and pieces of whatever you like and use on smaller projects too. Applying transfers is one of the easiest things ever. Just remove the paper backing and put the transfer ink side down. They supply you with a plastic stick that you just rub all over the transfer. And I like to do the kind of peel as you go technique. And that way I can lay it right back down and go over places that didn't stick very well. And make sure that I get every little piece of that transfer onto my project. I wanted to fix the back side of the picture because its backing had some holes in it and it just didn't look very pretty. And if I wanted to resell this, then I want it to be finished looking. So I'm using this leftover wallpaper that I have from a laundry room makeover, and I'm going to cut it down to size and hot glue it to the back of this sign. The original hanger was a small hanger, so I'm going to replace it with a bigger one that can just go in the middle. And while I am relocating my hanger, I'll let you take a peek at my laundry room transformation. It's still a project underway. I have a few more things that I need to do, but I'm really happy with how pretty this wallpaper is. It was from Wayfair and it's designed by Kelly Clarkson. Time for a cute critter video. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video and got a good laugh at the little critters. I will be working on some more DIY projects next week, so come back and see me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.